Folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending August 31st, 2022. It never ceases to amaze me the predicaments people get themselves into. Often it's because they just are working with the wrong people and taking advice from the wrong realtors, or they're taking advice from everybody around them that have no business giving advice, or they're just plain naive about the situation that they're getting themselves into. I'm saying this because I'm about to talk to you about one of the latest phone calls I received. This family bought a house 2 months ago. Their goal was to buy a house for them to live in. There's mother and father and 2 children, so there's 4 of them in the family. And they just are looking to buy their first home for them to live, to enjoy. In house hunting with their realtor, they came across a property that they really liked, but the basement was set up as an apartment. It had a separate entrance, the whole thing, a kitchen, bedroom, set up as an apartment to rent. Somehow, some way, their realtor convinced them that this was the best thing that could happen on the planet for these buyers, that it would be awesome to have the basement rented. The family would enjoy the upstairs, the basement is rented, and those tenants help to pay for part of the mortgage. Now, the buyers did not need the mortgage money they did not need that rental income to be able to buy this home, and they could easily afford the monthly payments. They were all set up to do that. But their agent convinced them that this was an awesome idea. It's like free money coming in. So that's what they did. They went forward, they bought it. The agent helped them find a tenant in the basement. And after 2 months, that's it, just 2 months, they are, the buyers, the guy that called me, they're losing their mind about the situation that they're in. They did not want to be landlords. They find themselves being landlords, all because it'd be cool that someone else was helping to pay part of the mortgage, even though they didn't need that. Here's their situation. The tenant downstairs, the wife is at home during the day. She's on maternity leave, and she spends a lot of time in the backyard. So the guy that called me, the landlords, they can't spend time in their own backyard because the tenant is spending time in the backyard. The parking situation is all screwed up. The tenant is often blocking them in the driveway. The tenant will listen to the TV. It's not that it's excessively loud, but the way the floors are set up, they can hear the sound upstairs easily as if they're practically the ones watching the television. So none of this was even tested up front, the noise barrier between the 2 floors. Like, there was just so many things that the person who called me is not enjoying, and it's driving him crazy to where they're thinking of, how do we get out of this? How do we get rid of the tenant? How do we sell this home and just deal with this, not deal with the situation anymore? What this person doesn't even know, or they do know it's not a legal basement, they don't even know the consequences. If the city starts knocking on their door, the city from Mississauga knocks on their door and says, hey, this is not a legal basement apartment, you got to do this, 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 and this. They have no idea the amount of inconvenience and pain and financial investment that's going to be if the city should knock on their door. So it never ceases to amaze me how people get themselves into these predicaments. And like I said at the beginning, who you hire is so important. Hire a realtor that's going to not necessarily talk you into something, or not necessarily say this is what you should do, but if you do this, expect this. If you do this, expect that. There's pros and cons. It's beautiful having part of your mortgage paid. Everybody would want it if it was just that on its own. But having your mortgage paid, it's not free money. There are sacrifices that come along with having a tenant. There are responsibilities and inconveniences you have to put up with in being a landlord. So these things need to be explained up front, and then the sheer fact that it's not even a legal basement apartment Again, that's a whole other set of issues that could come up that way. Who you hire matters. It's so important you're working with someone who's going to tell you up front the good, the bad, the ugly. And then you can make a decision for yourself for what's best for you and your family. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way I'll know ahead of time and I'll make sure my schedule is organized so I'm free to speak with you about whatever's on your mind. So what's going on in Brampton, Mississauga, Durham region? You know, prices have come down quite a bit. But I'm going to show you that they've actually, in the last 4 to 6 weeks, they've leveled off, and in some situations, they've started to go up. Now, I know lots of you don't want to hear this. You have your own thoughts in mind, but I'm giving you the numbers as they actually happen. So here's a quick summary. Mississauga in blue, Brampton in green, and the Durham region in burgundy. And, you know, if we look at just the last few weeks, prices have not really fluctuated much. And in Brampton, they look like they've actually started to go up a little bit. Let's look a little closer. So here's Mississauga. 46 detached properties were sold in Mississauga. And over the last 5 weeks, sales have been going up. If we go back further to the end of June, so all of July and August, generally speaking, sales have been going up, not by a lot, but they're going up. So 46 detached properties were sold. 7 of those were at $2 million or more, which is also higher than it's been over the last couple of months. Average sold price week to week came down a little bit. It's now sitting at $1,537,000. Compared to last year, $1,537,000 is 2% higher than last year's average sold price. Let's take a closer look. Average sold price and median price. So average sold price is 2% higher. Median price is also 2% higher than last year's median price. And remember, we're just talking about Mississauga right now and only detached properties. Average sold price is $1,390,000. If we go back 3 months ago, yeah, there's a bit of a drop. It was 1,415. 1,5. We're now at 1,390. There's a bit of a drop. However, what I have here, the dotted lines, that's a 4-week moving average. So it summarizes 4 weeks together and plots them. And what it basically does is eliminates the high peaks and valleys and kind of makes it's easier to spot a trend using the 4-week moving average. And if we look at Brampton and if we're looking at Mississauga here, average sold price, and we go back 4 to 6 weeks, the average price really hasn't moved that much. And it's coming down a little bit, but it's hovering just a little bit over and a little bit under the 1.5 line over there. Let's look at median price, also going back 4 to 6 weeks. It has come down, but nowhere near like it was coming down before. So prices have been fairly stable, coming down slightly for Mississauga over the last 4 to 6 weeks. When we look at sales year to date, 37% fewer sales this year than what we were selling last year at this time. The amount of properties selling at list price or more, however, is way down at 9%. Only 9% of the properties sold at list price or more in Mississauga. Listings year to date are down 6%. We have 6% fewer sales this year than last year. Sorry, listings. I feel like it's the first day with my new lips here. I keep messing up the words. We have 6% fewer listings year to date this year than last year. Active listings, 432, and active listings has been coming down. If we go back 3 months, they were going up. We got the 520 active listings, and now they've been coming down. So think about that. Sales are going up. Active listings are coming down. Active listings meaning the amount of properties actually available for sale at the end of the period. Sales are going up. Available listings for sale are coming down. That's why you see months of inventory coming down. We're now sitting at 2.2 months of inventory. As months of inventory was going up, prices were coming down. Now months of inventory is coming down, and we're seeing a leveling off of prices. That's the reality of what's happening in Mississauga right now with detached properties. Let's look at Brampton. 53 detached properties were sold. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price over the last few weeks has been going up. It's now sitting at $1,237,000. It's a far cry from the 1.6 and a half where we used to be, but $1,237,000. It really doesn't matter what happened 6 months ago, what happened a year ago. If you are an active seller or buyer, the most important trend to you is what's happening right now, never mind months ago. So when we compare to last year though, $1,237,000 is 2% lower than last year's average sold price. So here we go, average sold price and median price. The median price is $1,110,000, which is 9% lower than last year's median price. But again, if you are active right now, you want to know what's happening now in the trend. So let's look at the 4-week moving average. So for average sold price, what you're looking at here, if we go back 4 to 6 weeks, this orange dotted line there, it's come down, it's gone up. It has barely moved over the last 4 to 6 weeks. If we look at median price over the last 4 weeks, it's barely moved. So in Brampton, over the last 4 to 6 weeks, prices have been somewhat stable. If we look at sales overall, year to date, 44% fewer sales this year. It's a huge drop in volume. So 44% less sales this year than what we were selling last year, year to date. Of the 53 that sold, a quarter of them, 25%, sold at list price or more. 11% fewer listings year to date this year versus last year. And if we looked at active listings, they started, and this is just a 3-month chart, but we had 560 active listings, went up to 627, and it's been coming down. It's now at 495 active listings. What does that do to months of inventory? Similar to Mississauga, as sales go up and available properties come down, we have fewer and fewer amount of time, fewer and fewer inventory out there, and so months of inventory comes down. We're sitting now at 2.2 months of inventory, and you saw it here, months of inventory going up. We can see sales coming down. Now as months of inventories come down, things like scarcity start to play into things. Well, we can see that it almost looks like average sold price has been going up in Brampton over the last few weeks. Here's Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. That's my Durham sample. 40 detached properties were sold. None of those sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price has come down. It's now sitting at $1,110,000, which is 8% lower than last year's average sold price. When we look at median price, it's pretty close to average sold price. Median price is $1,088,000, which is 2% lower than last year's median price. But let's focus on the last 4 to 6 weeks. If we look at the dotted line here, which is the 4-week moving average, it looks like median price has actually been going up. For average sold price, it's been pretty steady over the last 4 to 6 weeks. Now, is this going to carry on into September? Well, we got the rate announcement, right? That's happening today. is this the trend we're going to see? A price is going to stay kind of stable over the month of September? They're going to come down? They're going to go up? I know a lot of you have your opinions, so please share it in the comments below. But this, right now, August has been pretty steady across Mississauga, Brampton, and Durham, and in some areas actually going up over that time. So again, for Durham, when we look at sales, 32% fewer sales this year versus last year. Of the 40 that sold, a little bit more than half, 55%, sold at list price or more. And active listings has been coming down quite a bit. We now have only 215 active listings out there. And months of inventory did go up by 0.1. It's sitting now at 1.2. And if you look at this kind of months of inventory, 1.1, 1.1, 1.2, even 1.5, even 1.7, it's low. These are not the characteristics you see in a real estate market that is falling apart. Now, what's going to happen beyond that in the next few months? Who knows? I know lots of you have opinions. Lots of people have opinions. But if we're talking about how, doom and gloom this market is, it's not. It's been pretty steady, especially through August. And this is a fairly low, it's very much a seller's market still. We don't have the prices we had before, but it's not like there's lots of choices out there. And there are buyers that want to buy, and there are sellers that want to sell. And that dynamic right now, supply and demand, is still pretty much in the seller's favor right now. Here's condos for all of Peel region. 38 condos were sold. None of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price is $594,000 for the average condo sold across Peel region. $594,000 is 1% lower than last year's average sold price. It's been a while since average sold price was actually lower than last year's average sold price. When we compare to median price is $590, very, very close to what the average sold price is. So average sold price is 1% lower. Median price is 5% higher than last year's median price. And when we look at the 4-week moving average, it's really a different story in the condo market than it is in a detached market. We could see here, if we go back, say 6 weeks, average sold price has been coming down. And in the 4-week moving average, the trend is that it's come down, but both of them in the last few weeks has gone up. So we'll see how that develops in the month of September. As far as sales go, 30% fewer sales for condos this year, year to date, versus last year. Almost a quarter, 24% of the condo sales are selling at list price or more. 1% more listings year to date this year than what we were listing with condos last year. And months of inventory has come down to 3 months of inventory. Condos has the highest amount of months of inventory. Properties are sitting out there longer. There is more room to negotiate. The condo market has taken more of a beating just in the last 4 to 6 weeks than what the detached market has been doing. So here's the months of inventory. Condos might seem a bit high to you at 3 months of inventory, but look at Mississauga, Brampton, and Durham. I mean, 2.2, 2.2, 1.2. This is not a market where prices are bottoming out. Now, will things change later? Could be. I'm open-minded to that, but I'm going to show you what's actually happening, and this is where we are right now. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.